Hi. So I made this channel in order to help myself relearn how to draw from the fundamentals on up as much as possible over the course of a year. I want to see how much better I can get at drawing in as short a period of time as possible. And I had a good couple weeks where I was publishing my daily drawing videos every single day, and then I just kind of abruptly stopped. Sorry about that. So did I just give up on drawing every day? I did not, actually. What I did was I actually joined drawbox.com, which is a website which helps teach drawing fundamentals. Doesn't matter what stage you're at, they just start you from the beginning and you go up. And I decided that watching videos of me doing those would be kind of boring, just lots of drawing lines in box and things like that. So I got through lesson 1, I went through the 250 box challenge, and I'm somewhere in lesson 2 right now. I gotta finish that up still. And I was doing that for a month. And then we started Inktober. It's now halfway through October, so I've been doing the Inktober challenges. And I realized I probably should be doing some of the Inktober content on this channel. So when I get back into it a little bit, and I'm going to go through my Inktober drawings so far. We're at the halfway point. I'm going to give myself a self-critique as to what I have so far. So this was my first Inktober drawing for the prompt of Gargoyle. This is the first completed drawing that I honestly have done almost all year. So I've been doing lots of practice sketches, I've been doing lots of, you guys have seen the daily practice videos, all that kind of stuff. I didn't do any completed work though. So it was a little bit of a challenge, okay? Basically, I just drew a guy right here in a pose, and then gave him some wings and monstered up his face a little bit, and then gave the this building doesn't even make sense. It's basically just a block that he's standing on. Created some kind of a texture on the roof. Maybe it's covered in pebbles, and then created this little texture on here for each of these little blocks that he's on. It's fine. This circular shape, maybe it's supposed to be the moon, maybe not. It's not quite a circle. It's actually this paint palette. I just put that on there, so it's actually not even an oval. It's just kind of a whooshy doosh like that. So I have critiques about this. There's things I could have done definitely better. This biceps brachii is not the correct form. The bicep muscle here, that kind of lump, it's extended. Maybe that's kind of okay. It's all right. I'm kind of fine. His hand only has 3 fingers out front, and I have 1 in the back, so it kind of looks more like a talon. I'm fine with that actually, because he's a gargoyle, and I think that actually kind of makes sense. I hate this quadricep cluster here. It just looks like a big old lump that I put on there. I wish I had separated out the 3 muscles here. Here you can see that I accidentally drew the tensor fascia lata over top of the external oblique, and then I realized it too late, and I tried to put the oblique on over it so they're both overlapping each other, so there's just a very obvious mistake there. And then I tried my best to use some ink hash marks in order to give him volume as best I can. It works okay. Overall, yeah, I just think this was my first effort. I think I could do better. But and also I just ended up filling in a lot of black using my ink brush in order to fill all this space in. In later ones, I kind of tried to avoid doing that more, because it took so much time just to get all these blacks in. Okay. The next one, actually, the next day, the prompt was rat. No, it was scurry. It was scurry. So I made all these little rat boys, kind of in a lump, in a pile. I really just kind of made a whole bunch of organic shapes and then morphed each one into a rat. So just a whole bunch of organic shapes kind of laying over each other, then put a little tail on each one, some ears, put a little point on there. And that kind of worked. I liked that. If I were to do it again, I think if I did a few iterations of this, it would look really, really cute, but I think it looks pretty cute as is. And then I used a Prismacolor 20% cerulean cerulean? Is that it? I think I have it here. Yeah, there it is. It is a... yeah, light cerulean blue. To get some shadows in. I know Inktober is usually all black and white, but I figured I could get away with it. Day 3, scallop. So I found out that scallops have actually lots of eyes, and they actually have lots of little like teeth-like projections projecting outward. So I created this scallop here with lots of little eyes, and I didn't give them any pupils, so they were kind of blank eyes. So it maybe makes it a little bit hard to tell that they're eyes if you don't know that about scallops. But I made them very dapper, gave them a little scallop shell brooch pin here. I think this is cute. I think it's funny. I don't really have any notes about this. It is exactly what I meant it to be. Day 4 was bat, and I kind of phoned that one in a little bit, and I don't actually have the sketch here. I will pop it up in post. There it is. Day 5 was flame, and you can see I once again grabbed a little bit of color in order to sell that. My orange Prismacolor, this was nice. It started out with lots of pigment in it, so I was able to do the external portions of the flame here, but then it started to dry out as I kept going. So as it was drying out, then I could start moving into the internal area, and I got this variation of value going in, so that actually worked really well. Almost like I had planned it, but it was sort of just happy that I had decided to start on the outside of each flame and then work my way in anyway. I think I could have done a more interesting pose, more dynamic, and this flame hair, it's very graphic. It reminds me too much of Super Saiyan hair, so I think I could have played with the flames kind of rising up and flickering around. Also, if you take a look at some of this, some pretty nasty ink work right here, right here. I was trying to use a Pentel pocket brush pen for almost the first time to actually do line work, and I really need more practice with that. There's a couple of other ones where I tried using it, and it's not looking good. Okay, we have... Sorry, I'm going to move this microphone here. Bouquet. So I got I drew out, pretty simple, drew out some flowers, looked up a whole bunch of different types of flowers and made kind of composition, just whatever I drew on the left side, I tried to draw something similar on the right side. Tried to make sure that everything in the foreground was overlapping everything just behind it, so we had not only a symmetrical layout, since everything matched over here, but also that since everything in front is overlapping everything besides, you had very clear kind of circular layout, which eventually led up to this bee right here, who has a kind of curved thing. So if I cover up the bee, right, this composition seems to be implying that there is a point here that your eye is supposed to be brought to. Like, I guess you could say that this becomes the focal point, but it seems like it's missing something, and this B, which is the point of highest contrast, that's the actual focal point there. At least that's the intent. You guys can tell me if you think it's successful or not. I think I need to draw more flowers. I think I need more practice with flowers. Trip was day 7. Trip. So, 2 meanings here. Put on your boots to take a trip. Go for a walk, go for a hike, and you can trip over loose bootlaces. I was tired, so that was the best idea I had. And drawing old boots is pretty much everyone has to do that at some point in their artistic career. So doing a study of some old boots, doing a line drawing of them. In fact, I think this is the first, if you just look up in Google old boots and do an image search, these boots will be the first ones that pop up. I think probably everyone has drawn this pair of boots at some point. So yeah, I might come in here and add some value, some shadows and tone into these a little bit later. But the thing with Inktober is you got to pump out one every day. So if it's toward the end of the day, and whatever you finish is what you finish. So it's kind of what I'm enjoying about it, is it's forcing me to finish. Next prompt was Nest. This was a day I was really, really not feeling it. Why is it? Why am I blurry here? There we go. But I just decided to go with a slightly more cartoonish style. Made a bird that needs some coffee here, and he's hanging out in his nest. And it was fun just to use a kind of cartoony style and still get the impression of like some volume in here with the nest. You can clearly see that that's inside the nest and this is out, and get some expression on this bird's face. Krabby was up next. This one I had a lot more color into, and I used stippling to give some texture to the crab. I thought this was going really well when it was black and white, and I really liked where I was going when I started adding color to this. As soon as I started adding this red, though, the red was overpowering all of the other values, so I felt like that was a mistake, but once it was in, I was kind of committed, so I ended up adding this. I think I need to go find a red that is just a little bit less powerful to add in, but here's my crab. We got here. So we got Eagle. This one, and this is unusual for me, I usually don't try to copy from reference very precisely. In fact, I find it very difficult. I'm terrible at just copying straight from reference. Here I tried as much as I could. I still varied in some locations. Well, I think it looks really nice in some spots. I really like some of the feather texture that came in. Overall, the pose just looks kind of boring. It doesn't look like he's coming in to attack something, and I feel like there's some kind of momentum that I lost in trying to copy this down precisely. I do like the shape of this wing that I managed to get in here. But overall, I think this is okay, but I can do better. That criticism kind of goes for this one as well. The prompt here was forget, and I went with this idea of, when you're forgetting stuff, objects just kind of fall out of your head. It feels like you got a hole in your head. And I just kind of pushed that into this kind of surrealistic take. I think this accurately communicates what I was going for. Everything about it is fine, but I think this could have been pushed further. Along, and this seems like it's almost the preliminary sketch for maybe another drawing that I can do later, which is more explosive than this is. I think I could have gone more detailed in some areas and maybe push some of the angles at which things are tilting away, that kind of thing. I also went with a bald person because that would make it super easy, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the situation. So yeah, I think this one's fine. I think this one's fine. It just, I think I can go a little bit stronger there. Okay, kind. So I did a Google image search for the word kind, just to get an idea of what kind of the most common idea would be. It was typically someone large offering something to someone small, someone in a position of power giving something to someone in not a position of power, so like someone handing bread to like a homeless person, something like that, which obviously that's kind. Someone providing shelter to someone else, or a more abstract kind of image, like two hands handing a heart to the other one. So what I thought was, could I give a different kind of aspect here? So I created this kind of Wendigo here, this tentacles pouring out of his mouth, this really horrifying monstrosity, and a girl who's collecting flowers offering him one of her flowers, despite the fact that he's like a horrifying monstrosity. So at great personal risk to herself, still choosing to be kind to this very scary monster. And I just thought that was a twist on the formula that I was seeing. You know, need to put out an idea in a day, so I thought that worked. Do I have a critique for this one? I'd like to see more playing with line weight in here. If I had been doing this in Photoshop, I'd probably take another crack at this little girl's face. I feel like I could have made that nose just a little bit cuter. So here, the quadricep muscles look much better than in the gargoyle one that I did, so I'm happy I actually divided those into the three little muscle groups. This deltoid is not working out super great. I think this fur texture needs some work, and you could use just some tone overall, so I should have done more ink work just to bring out some volume in here. That's really what this needs. The next prompt was empty. So I created this playground image. I wanted to make sure that there was lots of playground elements. We got the monkey bars here. We have the kind of playhouse with the slide and the little stairs. The jungle gym, which I did not finish, that's one critique. Tire swing, which is snapped here, and something about a hanging rope from a branch is just inherently creepy. We got the horse on the spring, and we got a little teddy bear here, so lots of little details around, and it's all overgrown, and you can see like little rust patches on some of the metal. This step has been busted. Lots of vines growing all over things, sticks left out. It clearly needs to be weed whacked and mowed around here. So lots of shows, lots of displays of dilapidation. So it's just an empty playground. You would expect this to be a place where there's lots of children playing, but this is just empty, and there's something very unsettling about that idea. Big critique for this one, I went too thick on the lines. I think I must have used an 8 technical pen, a 08. I probably should have started with a 05 or even a 03 on these. I just went too thick with some of these outlines, so it looks muddled out here. And then if I had used the thinner line, then I would have felt more okay with creating deeper shadows in some of these other spots. Maybe I still should. But yeah, not finishing this jungle gym, so it looks like it's just a white dodecahedron inside, and or icosahedron, and the thick outlines. That's the biggest critique I have there. Oh. Let's see here. Armadillo was up next. This one I did use reference for. I found an armadillo skeleton where they had taken the carapace here, the armor, and they had kind of put it over top. He was on a stand, so there was a stick kind of standing up like this, holding him upright. And I made some changes. I took this arm and I brought it outside to make it just a little bit more dynamic. Altered some of the positions of things, but I really liked how that looked. I really liked the overall dynamic posture of it, and the idea of him having this, which could create this nice black graphic shape, which really makes the skeletal system kind of pop. So overall, I really liked the base reference photo for that. So I did stay mostly true to that. I didn't like copy it line for line, but most of this is just based on what I know about human skeletons, and then taking little details from what I saw in the armadillo skeleton and bring it to that. For example, human skeletons and all four-legged animals, we have one long bone in our upper arm. We have two smaller bones, the radius and ulna, in our forearm. That's connected by your wrist bones here, which are many kind of square or cubic shaped bones. Then you have your hand bones, which are a little bit longer, and so your carpals, your metacarpals, and then your phalanges here. And then the same pattern is repeated in your legs. You have one long bone, two smaller bones, which in the armadillo it looked like these are actually fused. And then you have these bones, these kind of square squat ones, long ones, and then your digits there. So that kind of pattern's repeated. You got your vertebra, your scapula, your clavicle, your ribs, all this, like all that is just repeated from human skeletons, just slightly different shapes. So if you know how to do one skeleton, you know how to do all of them. There's a lot of divergence in skull shapes, though. That's the one thing you do need typically reference for. Then yesterday's prompt was foul. So here's my foul. And the biggest critique I have, I actually kind of like large parts of this. I think this all looks fine. The head, the feathers, the way these lines are creating volume in the chest, and I think I could have gone a little bit lighter on the outline of these feathers here and here. But overall, I think this looks kind of okay. The big problem is I once again tried to use the brush pen in this water, and it just did not come out looking good. So I just need more practice with the brush pen. That's what it comes down to. So I'm gonna keep doing these, and hopefully I'll make some videos where I actually just do it, the whole process all the way through, because that's kind of what I'm doing this month.